How much of the season do you think is like typically outlined, ahead of time before like the production actually begins? Or does it always change? Do you think you guys have a good idea of where you want to go?
Yes,
with the whole season?
Again, every show, every time you're going to ask is every show is different. And that's what's always fascinating about jumping from show to show is you always get to see how showrunners take. There are similarities, but there are differences in every show. How planned out a showrunner wants thing. But every show I've worked on so far, the showrunner has to pitch kind of the beginning, middle, and end of the season to the network of the studio. What is the overall arc? I've never worked on like a completely episodic show like an NCIS or like a procedural show. But I've always worked on shows with there's like basically a soap kind of show where there's a whole storyline and it's all serialized.
Okay.
So you have to know the character starts here. With looking for their dead father or something, and then they find their dead father halfway through and he's actually alive or something, and then by the end of the season, the father ends up being fake and not being their father and betraying them, whatever. But the beginning, middle, and end of the entire arc, and then so it's more broad. But as far as you don't know, the showrunner doesn't necessarily know what happens in each specific episode. Things can move and shift, but there are also major tent poles or plot points where they really love this moment where the bad guys break into their house.
Sure.
That's just a big, but they know it's around episode 7 or 8.
Right.
So we just throw it on the board.
It's a big moment in the story.
Yeah. It's a tent. We call those tent poles. So we have that as part of the pitch. To get the executives excited, and that could be episode 7 or 8. And everyone usually ends up happening. It just when that happens, where that happens, could be episode 6, 7, 8. Things get moved and shifted between the episodes as you start getting more and more details as you go down the line.